The Bunker Project, episode number 9. We've got a full show this week on The Bunker Project. We're going to talk about what you can and cannot say on a podcast, and a whole lot more. And welcome back to another episode of The Bunker Project. I'm here in the Bunker Bar with Bob Garlick.
And I'm almost in tears because my beer's almost finished.
We took some extra time today because, just as you heard
were playing with some new technology,
yeah,
face it.
As you heard last week, we were down in Blaine and we picked up some new equipment, and I've been playing with these cables that I can plug into the mixer and do a mix minus with my cell phone and dial out and bring people into the show over the phone.
Yeah, I just want to back up a little bit. When he says a cable, it's a really cool cable. You know what? With your smartphones, you got the headset and the mic built in, and that's what these cables are. Basically, it's the stereo jack with one more little ring on it. So it's got left-right output and a mic input, I guess that would be right.
It's actually an audio-visual cable for like an iPhone or
yeah. And how much are those there in Canada? Like $30, $28. Mm-hmm. So we go on the internet, do a little research, and Amazon has them on sale for $1, or would they 99 cents?
99
or
cents.
99 cents. It costs more to ship them than it was to buy them. So we picked up a couple of those, and another $8 for shipping.
$5, I think, for shipping. Yeah, no, but it works and it's great. And you also picked up another piece of hardware that's several $100s that you can do the same thing with, but a little bit more.
Yeah. It's actually, well, it is such a cool piece of technology. But let's talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
What else are we going to be talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about what you can and cannot say in a podcast. And we all know what you can and cannot say on radio. We're going to talk about that.
Yep.
And also extend that into podcasting, because podcasting is internet radio, basically syndicated over RSS. So you'd think you could say whatever you want, but there's a couple of reasons why you can't.
Well, you know what? Well, we'll get into that a little later when we talk about it. Yeah. And also we got a movie, Catfish. I wanted to talk about this movie, Catfish, that came out a couple of weeks ago. And it is the first, well, maybe not the first, but it's kind of like a thriller that uses social media as the plot, which I think is really, really cool. So it kind of shows that social media is now 100% mainstream, and it's not the nerdy thing that people do if they don't have a relationship with reality. Basically, everybody is into social media, and podcasting is just one of the many, many ways that you can communicate with people.
I have a relationship with reality, but I don't want to fully commit.
Yeah. Bonk.
Bonk, yeah.
Bonk, that's what you get for slashing at reality. I do not have a relationship with reality. That's what my wife says. Because I'm constantly saying, honey, where's that? And she walks into the room and then I find it. It's weird. She has to be in the room for me to find it, or I have to ask her at least once before my eyes work. It's weird, but hey, maybe it's a guy thing.
I think it is.
Any other guys have that same problem? Yeah, okay, all the hands go up except for the one guy. He's turned around, he's asked his girl. Yeah, he knows where his right hand is. So, What's next? Sorry, that didn't happen.
Well,
I just had this weird flash of reality there, man. I wasn't looking at him, really.
All right.
Oh, okay.
So let's just dive right into what you can and cannot say in a podcast. And you've got the...
Okay.
George Carlin, is it?
Yeah, well, okay. This is a funny story. Basically, it all started when I used the S word a couple of episodes back. And then after the show, Andrew was explaining to me that we're going to have to make the show explicit.
It was more than a couple S words.
Really? Well, we just used the S word, but we used it many times because we started talking about usage of it, which is kind of what the George Carlin thing. So anyways, me being the way I am.
And then I made a joke too, the William Shatner
Oh,
joke.
yeah, okay.
It was out of control, that show.
It was, it was punny. It was a punny show.
Yeah.
So I went back and I really got curious about, okay, what can you say and what can't you say? So me being me, I phoned up the CRTC, which is the Canadian organization.
Radio Telecommunications.
Thank you. Basically, they're the licensors. Licensors? The licensees? No, licensors.
Yeah,
anyways,
licensors sounds
thank
good
you.
to me.
Yep, licensors of the license to have a radio station or a TV station. And if you don't bow down to their rules, they pull the license. So I phone them up and they say, oh, you should talk to this other long acronym I can't remember right now. And so I phoned these other guys up, and they are the Canadian government organization in charge of content on the internet, which I didn't even know exist, which was kind of cool. And I phoned them up, and this nice lady answered, and I said, oh, hi, I've got this podcast, and we're concerned about profanity on our show, and we just wanted to know, do you have an official list of all the words you cannot use on the internet, radio, TV, stuff like that? And she says, oh, you better talk to, I'm not going to use the guy's name because you'll understand later, this guy. And I said, okay, fine. He just happens to be the president of the organization. And I said, well, here's my number. Get him to call me back. So lo and behold, about 2 hours later, this guy calls back and said, yeah, it's Bob Garlick there. I said, yeah, it's Bob. I am calling from Ottawa and da-da-da-da-da. And you had this question. I said, yeah. So I explained it to him, a little concerned about my staff and people using the wrong words in our podcast. We're going to have to make them profane or have to have them censored or whatever. And he said, well, basically, the rule is in Canada, you can say anything you want on a podcast as long as it's not hate related. Okay? So being hateful against another religion or another people or something like that. Canada, you just get shut down big time for doing that. But really, you can say anything as long as it's after 9:30 at night. That's the rule in Canada. 9:30 at night, because the kids have gone to bed, and it was basically all these...
That doesn't make any sense for a podcast.
Well, I know. I said, yeah, but this is a podcast, so people cannot download it. He said, okay. Well, that's slightly different. So he said the rule of thumb is don't say anything that would embarrass your mother. So me, I was saying, yeah, but what happens if your mother's a really tough woman that drives around a nasty motorcycle and drinks beer all the time? I said, well, within reason. I'm sure you can embarrass her too. So he was, in an entertaining type of way, he was trying to get across something that was very vague. And the reason it's very vague is this list that I kept on asking for doesn't exist. There is an official list, 7 words, that in 1972, the Supreme Court in the United States passed this law saying these are the 7 words you cannot say on radio or TV unless you're classified as an adult show or kids can't go, or they have to have
pay-per-view
or whatever. So he said, if you really want to know what the 7 words are, go to the George Carlin piece. So I went and I checked it out, and George Carlin, really funny guy, very political, and he takes these 7 words and he does a 20-minute monologue on the words. It's brilliant. So if you don't mind your ears getting a little red, you should listen to it because it's poetic what he does.
So we can link to that. We'll just put a warning on it, and we'll link to it on the show notes.
It's so easy. Just go to YouTube and say George Carlin or the 7 words you can't say, and boom, it pops up like there's 50 versions of it. It's amazing.
Yeah, or just go to the show notes and we'll have it there for you.
Oh, okay.
We'll make it easy for you.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
All right.
Fine.
Now the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
Is with podcasting, at least for the time being, the number one podcatcher, as they call them, or distribution point of a podcast is iTunes. And you can get podcasts elsewhere. You can download them directly from websites. You can get them on Zune. You can get them on, and Zune, we'll get into that too. But iTunes has their own rules, and basically they're the same rules. I'm sure these seven words and any kind of sexual or adult content has to be marked explicit. Now, if you mark it explicit, you're fine. You can say whatever you want. Problem is, if you mark your show explicit, then less people will listen. And the other thing you can do, and I haven't actually done this yet because I wanted to do it on this one episode that we did, is to mark one single episode explicit. And that can definitely be done. But the problem is, if you mark one episode explicit in iTunes, it'll show up as explicit. But in Zune, all your episodes show up as explicit. So you kind of have to make a decision. Okay, are we going to go explicit and just no holds barred, right? Or are we going to keep it clean and try and get more listeners and more exposure and more?
Yeah, there's another category too.
Yes, on iTunes there is clean. So if you label your podcast clean, it means that there is profanity, but you've bleeped it out. So you'll have some kind of a bleep, bleep throughout whenever there's a
Yeah, so
swear word,
so it's kind
profanity.
of
Now, what I like,
Yeah.
I actually asked this question on the GSPN.TV podcast Answer Man forum. How do you mark one episode explicit? Because I'd never done it before, and I was curious. And Dave DeFore, podcaster down in the States, he does a number of shows. I think one of them is a comedy show. And he says...
Is this the noodle ramen guy?
No, it's not.
Different
That's
guy. Okay.
Daniel Lewis.
Okay.
But Dave DeFore came up with an awesome response, and he said that he thinks that the word explicit, even though explicit doesn't mean obscene by the dictionary definition, it doesn't mean obscene or adult content or anything, really, really bad. That's people's general perception, is when they see explicit, they think porn, right? And so they see that label and they're not, I don't want to listen to that one, I'll move on to the next one. But really they should have like a PG-13. They should have a scale that people can relate to, for going to the movies or whatever. Because if all your choice that you have, if you're going to say, the S word, or
the T word,
or any of these words, and even if it makes total sense in the context, say we're just talking now, we're just describing the word, and if we actually just said the word, we'd have to label the show explicit, when explicit really is not the right term.
Yeah, well, you know what I think it is? It's the lawyers, once again, coming in and saying, well, we want to make this as easy as possible to monitor, and there's hundreds of thousands of podcast shows out there, so for them to actually pay somebody to go in and listen to every show to make sure it's explicit or not, I think it's either explicit or it's not, or cleaned up. And I think that's the reason they went. If you go into PG and stuff, then you have to have some sort of organization that reviews every podcast show, yada, yada, yada. So I think that's what the conversation is probably like. It's like, look, it's either explicit or it's not. And if we just make it so black and white and people really don't have a lot of choice, they'll make it explicit or they won't. And that's kind of the situation we had. Like, we can have this conversation. I could be swearing like crazy, no problem. Or I can control myself and bite my tongue and drink more beer.
It's usually the second episode of the meetup that they start coming out, because we're
it's
into the
beer
third or
3.
fourth black beer.
It's the black beer's fault.
The restraint is...
So my question is, we've been using the S word or the T word. Can you say that, or is that implied explicitness?
What is the T word?
I can't say it. It's explicit. But after the show, there's the F word.
Yeah.
And then there's MF word. And then there's the C word and the T word. And then there's the MF, T, and there's 7 of them. But one of them is a T word, and you'd be shocked.
Hey, I got an email from my mom. I forgot.
Was she shocked?
I forgot to turn on the thing there.
Okay, go turn it on.
If you just hit...
We're sending our tech guy in there. He's climbing up the ladder.
So there's a power button.
Fighting off the monkeys.
There's a power button on the side there.
Yes, it's a very sophisticated piece of equipment.
And then just the center button to start her off.
All right. Yeah, we're going to video today to test for streaming video. We're just going to do the video part to see if we can figure out the angle. Is that working?
Okay, so maybe we do the little clap now.
Oh, okay. So you do this, and then we can sync it.
There we go.
So this is a trick I learned from a cinematographer. I was saying, like, I'm really having... Oh, my God, she's here. Yay. This is our bartenderess. What's your name, by the way?
Christina.
Christina's here with us tonight. It's a new bartenderess.
Do you want to say hi?
Yeah, hi. How's everybody?
We're doing well.
Now that we got a bartender in here, thank God.
Now that you can get a fresh
Hey,
beverage.
so what is it? Is it bartender or bartenderess? Is that technically accepted?
No, I think it's still bartender.
Bartender, isn't that?
Server is both, waiter, waitress.
'Cause you have, like, actor,
They decided
actress.
That wasn't cool anymore. It's just server, just
Ah.
bartender.
All right.
Yeah.
I will have a black beer, please.
Myself as well. So this is the first time that you've actually...
Happy?
this is the first time you've been here when we're doing the show.
With the bunker.
Yeah.
The bunker show.
It's wonderful to see you all here.
Cool.
All right.
So I got this. This is
But hang on.
yeah.
Let's talk the video idea first.
Okay.
Okay. So talked to my friend of mine, and she's was in the film industry a long time. I was saying, hey, I really hate what's happening with the miking, and it's a hassle, and I don't want to spend $800 on a wireless lavalier system. So she said, oh, it's easy. Just get a little cheap recorder, digital recorder, stick it in your back pocket, mic yourself, and then walk up to the camera and slap your hands, and then you sync the slapping of your hands to the spike you get on your audio, and then just run it. So you do that, do all your video, go back and combine the video and the audio together, line it all up to sync it all up, and then basically lock it together. Then do your editing, and then you're fine.
Cool. So we got a camera set up here, so we'll have a little bit of video to play on uncensoredsocialunderground.com.
Cool.
So
get your popcorn.
So I got, talking about explicit, this is a little bit off topic, but it's sort of on topic. I got an email from my mom, and she asked me, this is what the email said. She says, "Hey, Andrew, I saw on Facebook something and on your Facebook page," and she goes, "What is a MILF?" And I said to Valerie, I said, "How am I going to answer this question?" And so she also said, "Is it something I really want to know, right?" And then so I replied back and I said, "It's probably something you don't want to know. But where did you hear this from? Where did you hear this?"
Where's MILF come? I didn't use that.
MILF.
Maybe it's a misspelling by me because I'm a terrible speller.
MILF.
So I could have been military facility, could have been MILF.
And so what I did is I asked her where she heard this from. She emailed me back and she said, "Oh, someone put a questionnaire on your page. How do you know Andrew McGivern?" And one of the questions is Andrew McGivern's mother a MILF?
Wow.
One of these Facebook quizzes, right? So then she said, "Oh, and just if you ever find out what that means, just let me know," right? And I'm like,
there's this thing called Wikipedia. I'm sure it's there.
Yeah. So,
but maybe you don't want her to know.
So it put me in a very uncomfortable position. How can I explain that to my mom? Anyways.
Hey, the thing with moms,
and we can't actually say what it is because this is not an explicit podcast.
But don't worry about that. The thing with moms, nothing shocks them. They were a young woman once, and then they got all these kids, and the kids grew up, and they're trying to protect her, and it's like, God, guys, I've been around way longer than you. I've seen some really crazy things.
It's hilarious, but they pretend that they don't, though.
Well, I know they're into guilting you out and making you feel bad, because that's what good moms do. At least mine does.
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
So let's talk about that movie. And,
if you insist.
Yeah, because I think that's the next thing here on our list.
Yeah, I zipping around the net, working up a sweat, and looking for interesting things to talk about. And, we've got a relatively now thin segment that we can go for. So after I'd exhausted my time looking for equipment, okay, I'm just going to back up here. You know how the internet works and you research a lot of stuff, and then every website you go to shows what you've been researching the last, 6 weeks or something like that? So every time I go on a blog right now or on a website, all I see is audio equipment. It's driving me nuts. So yeah, that the internet marketing really, really works. I mean, if you're looking at your website right now and you started to notice a certain type of pictures coming up, then you're accessing that particular subject matter too much because the algorithms are saying, oh, well, this is what this guy likes to see or buy or blah, blah, blah. So we're just going to show him more. So if you're getting tired of the ads you're looking at, research something you want to look at. That's my theory.
All right.
Oh, the beer lady, she's struggling. She's got, we're sending in our techie guy. Our excellent. Look at these black beers. You going to go for another black?
All right. The black beers are flowing.
Rounds and rounds of black. Beauty. Thank y'all. Oh, crash, bang, bang. Nice sound effects. Okay, the movie. As yet, again, I have digressed way over subject. So, so I'm researching, and I just stumble upon this review of this movie, and it's called Catfish. And basically, let me just read from my notes here because it has been a little bit of time since I looked at this. Okay, Nev Schulman, a 24-year-old New York photographer, and his relationship with an 8-year-old Abby Pierce and his 19-year-old sister Megan Facio, whom he meets on Facebook in 2007. So, 2007, this is years ago, and on the internet, that's like a long time. So anyways, it basically goes that plot twists aside, the film was what?
Was 2007, that was before you could build a Flash website on your own right from the browser.
Hey, if you start this conversation, we're going to get an email from Jobs saying, hey, enough with... Sorry. Haven't the foggiest idea. 2007, Flash was still around. I mean, he's been around
No,
forever.
I'm saying that because Eric's here and he's from Wix.com.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, you trying to go for a sponsorship thing there or something? Oh, you just slipped him $5. Amazing. Okay. So where was I? Oh, yeah. So plot twist aside, the film was social networking and other topics unique to the internet age, such as Google Maps, sexting, and Photoshop in order to give you a richer view of the emotional narrative as Nev Schulman and Agilia Meg blah, blah,
Okay.
blah,
Okay.
blah,
So
blah.
what
Anyways,
did you like about the movie?
I haven't seen it. I just read the review.
Oh, okay.
No, just kidding. So what's interesting about the movie is you go through an 8 month, I think it was 8 months, 6 or 8 months of this relationship as it builds up. And it's all through Facebook. It's all social media interaction. And what he's doing is he's watching, he's a guy in New York with his buddies and everything. They're cracking jokes. And he's watching the Facebook account of this woman's family because he's friended her, and obviously then he can see the other people's pictures, and he starts noticing infighting and all the private stuff that happens that people talk about is available for this guy to analyze, and it goes on and on and on. And then, and I'm not going to spoil the movie, then he actually decides to physically go and meet her. And then at the end, the last part of the movie is great because it's got these awesome twists, and it's quite entertaining.
Wow.
I mean,
well, I like
not
the
enough
sound,
shooting, not
I like
enough
the
action,
sound
not-
of
no-
your
no.
other movie you talked about where they used social media to, or the game it was called, right?
oh no, that's a book.
Okay.
Awesome book. This is not a game, and
This is not a game. That's right.
yeah, and awesome book. And basically, every chapter is this is not an escape. This is not a hero. This is not this. This is not that. So every chapter, and there was lots of chapters, and not like your average paperback novel about I would say 2 inches thick. And what's interesting about it is a very viable concept for a company. In fact, I would love to get involved with a company like this. Basically, what they did is, let's say you had an online product that was around a community. So to drive people to that community, you could hire this company and they would create an international interactive game that was partially on the internet and partially in reality. And it opens up actually with this woman in Jakarta, and they've just done a finale. So the players of the game that scored enough points, they all got flown to Jakarta for the marriage of these fictitious characters in the game, including elephants and blah, 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 blah. I mean, and she was basically a producer of WoW events. And she arrives in Jakarta, and then there's the ringgit or whatever it is in Jakarta collapses, and she's stuck in this hotel with anarchy around her and people shooting and stuff like that. And it's a great book. I mean, because it's got this premise of a really cool Internet 3 type company, and it still has the interesting action and stuff to drive people that aren't into the internet and make it interesting.
I'm gonna
Check it out,
check
man.
it out.
Yeah, it's
what
not
about
bad.
the Facebook movie, Social Network? Are you gonna watch that one?
Maybe. I don't know. I Facebook
I-
enough
I-
as it is. I mean, can you imagine
I'm kinda
watching the
interested
Facebook movie and then playing on Facebook at the same time? Oh, I'm just watching
You know,
the
the
Facebook movie.
guys, they were kind of participating in it until they found out they were making them look like geeks that were just doing it to get chicks.
Yeah, and
They pulled out and said, no, if you're portraying us like that, forget it.
yeah, like that's not. Well, you know what it is? They were doing it for fun, and they were probably joking around. Yeah, we we'll do this, and we're gonna have all this sex. It'll be great. And then they started making all this money and say, oh man, no, we don't want this money. That's boring. We want the sex, man, the money. I mean, I think that's the funniest thing about that whole movie. It's like there's tons of money lying around, and they're like, no, dude, it's not the money. We just want to go to the bar and pick up some chicks.
It's all about sharing.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. So for me, I don't know. If you're really rich and you hang out at bars and you have a beautiful car and fancy clothes and you're dripping money, you will pick up certain types of women, but not the type of woman you want to have a long-term relationship with, right? Yeah, fun for a little bit, but then it's like, it's a little boring and all we do is shop. You want to have a relationship. So really, that's what it's all about. So it's not nothing to do with the money. It's the long-term relationship. So really, that's why they pulled out, because they were perceived as guys that were going for, cheap. Well, maybe not cheap, expensive women is probably a better term. Really expensive women that love to go shopping all the time. And really what they wanted was a nice person that they could hang out with and have a little sex sometimes, and go cooking with, and da-da-da-da-da. Hey, that's not one of the 7 words. I can use that word.
Well, absolutely. Anyways,
there's another version
I'm not
of
sure
that.
if that's what the movie's about, though, but we should.
Oh.
I'll tell you once I see it.
Well, I saw the trailer, and that's what I got out of the trailer. I mean, 30 seconds, I can figure a movie out.
All right.
So anyways, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people listening to that. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe Bob has said something like that.
Hey, this is the second to last episode that we're going to be recording directly into a computer.
Oh, okay, here it is. Andrew has to bring up his new toy. I've got some heartbreaking news for him, though. But go ahead, talk about your product.
Well, it's the Tascam DR07, but now I'm curious, what is the heartbreaking news?
Well, no, hang on. We talked about this last show, right? And I said, is it the red one? He said, the black one. It's a nice unit.
Yeah.
Right? It's got the mic input, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
So remember we went to Blaine? Mm-hmm. Picked up some stuff. I had 3 boxes, right?
Yeah.
One box had this really cool jam, the what was it called? The phone jam, which, by the way, can I talk about the phone jam
He's
now?
going to one-up me now, I bet you. Do
you want me to talk about the phone jam now or after?
Yeah, go talk about the phone jam.
Yeah, well, okay. So the phone jam, here I am on eBay looking for stuff. What's the one everybody uses? The official one?
JK Audio Host.
JK Audio. Wonderful piece of equipment. The podcast answer man uses it. He thinks it's fantastic, and it is a wonderful piece of equipment.
Well, Leo Laporte uses it too.
Okay, yeah. So the big guys use it. Very cool, great piece of equipment. $480, $500, something like that. And it works great if you're going to do telephone interviews, because basically you're able to jack your phone lines in and grab the line and do a telephone interview, do a mix minus.
Bring a landline into the mixer.
Thank you. Do a mix minus, blah, 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 and do the interview. It sounds great because you're on mic and the person on the phone's on the phone, but who cares? Then, so I'm on the net, I'm checking it out, and there you are, and on eBay, can I get one cheap? Can I get one cheap? No, they're like $380, $400, $384, $450, $700. What? So then I start checking out, and it's like $800, $1,500, $2,000, $5,000. These things are really expensive. Not this particular unit, but if you start looking for other brands, it goes even more expensive. So this unit is actually quite cost effective. And then suddenly I run across this thing called the Phone Jam. And nobody's bidding for it. I'm looking at it, and it's this big industrial looking box. It's not that big. It's a little industrial box. It's about the size of a hardback, a hardcover novel that's about, 4 inches thick. Phone Jam. And it was developed for musicians so they could jam remotely with other members. So it's got balanced input, it's got line inputs, it's got an equalizer on it, it's got a phone pad you can dial, it's got 2 inputs so you can have 2 people call you at the same time and mix it. I mean, holy cow, this thing is awesome. So it's been used by a radio station for doing, you guessed it, telephone interviews for the last 3 years. And so
it's a really cool device. It's got the phone pad right on the device.
Right on. It's all there. Basically, I could pick this sucker up, go anywhere with a mic, plug it into a wall and then grab another phone line off the wall and do a show and interview people and have people call in. It's like really, really wild. And it's got proprietary software in there that actually doubles the frequency capability over the phone line. I was like, wow. And it's called a Phone Jam. And nobody was bidding for it because they thought it was a phone jammer. So I picked it up for $199 US. Killer. I'm so excited. So that's what I got today. Really, really, really. And it's heavy. It was designed and built, custom built by these engineers. It's overkill. It's worth thousands of dollars. I mean, it's got everything on it. And I called the guys up. And I say, hey, dudes, love your product. You just got to simplify a little bit, and you could sell a ton of them to podcasters. This is a perfect product for podcasters. And so, well, we'd love to, but we're looking for more funding. And, if you know anybody that's got funding, so if you know somebody's got some money lying around, give me a call, and I can set you up with these people. Anyways, they only made 500, and it looks like a lot of it was kind of custom built in the United States. So it's heavy, it's metal, it's, you could kill somebody with it and still use it. I mean, it's kind of like the Shure. It's like a Shure. I mean, if you took the other
Shure
one,
microphone.
okay, you know the one that everybody else has used, the
Heil PR40.
no, the phone line one we were just talking about.
Oh, the JK Audio.
JK Audio.
host.
If I took the JK Audio and bludgeoned Andrew a little bit, I'd break the unit. This one, you wouldn't even dent it. I mean, it's gnarly. Anyways, so not that I would do that to you, Andrew. Maybe a couple more blacks I'd do that. Anyways,
Okay, so
So that was
we talked about the
and my
phone
cables.
jam.
yeah. So I got
So
my
in
cables.
the other box there was.
Cables.
Let me guess.
Cables.
The Adderall. You got the Adderall.
No. Please.
Oh.
You know how expensive that thing is. So
Okay, so what
these
was
awesome
in the other
cables.
box?
I bought $35 worth of cables, and they were cheap cables too. So I got a ton of cables. I went overboard. Oh, and so
You got me in suspense here. What was in the other box?
I got the Marantz, 920,
the
920,
Marantz, yes.
$499. Picked it up for $180.
The one that you sent me the link.
Yeah.
Ah, it's a nice unit.
Oh, it's an awesome unit.
Cool.
You know the problem with all these units, the little digital units, they're so lightweight and they're tiny. They're really tiny. Saying, "Oh my God, this thing! How can it be that good?" But it's an awesome unit. It's got anyway. So
Yeah,
yes.
the Marantz unit is an awesome digital recorder as well. And we didn't talk about that one was it last week or the week before? The week before.
I know I was
but
keeping
you
it
know what?
suspense.
We should do a review once you got it open and play with it a
Yeah,
little bit.
gonna test that baby out.
And same thing with the Tascam DRO7.
Well, we could
that,
do a shootout.
We'll do
Let's
that
do a
2
shootout.
episodes from now.
Yeah, we'll do a big
All right.
shootout.
Sounds good.
So yeah, that's our
a shootout.
yeah.
Sounds cool.
So what else? Oh, hey, we haven't heard from the guys in Australia about my case of beer that they're sending, the 6-pack. Maybe we scared them away with that one.
I don't know, but we're making him famous. His daughter is.
That's it. What's his daughter's name?
We don't know.
Okay, daughter. Can you get Dad to ship us a 6-pack of that black beer? That'd be awesome.
Thule's. It's Thule's old, I believe.
Well,
Thule's old.
all right. As long as
Yeah.
it's in six, maybe you can only get Thule's in twos.
Mm-hmm.
2 Thule's, please.
I wonder if there's Israeli black beer.
Is there?
Of course.
What's it called? We're bringing in our Israeli expert here. So tell us about the black beer.
The black beer.
You have to mic up, dude.
Excuse me. The only black beer, the original Israeli one, is the usual root beer. That's the closest that you get in Israel for.
Is it alcoholic? Alcoholic. Is it
Root
got
beer?
alcohol?
Yeah. The
No,
only
no, no,
black
that-
beer in Israel is the root one, but
That doesn't count. That doesn't count. No,
A
no.
few local, like lighter ones for sure.
Like an ale, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are more into technology and startups than beer. You know.
Oh, there's a zing zing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why he drinks the red wine here at the bunker.
And it's nice red wine.
It is. Yeah.
Okay, so what else we got on our list? We did the movie. We've got the George Carlin thing, and
Well, I think. I
I refuse to do a taste test.
maybe you'll do one down the road a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
When we get some yam fries. 'Cause that yam fries are by far the best with black beer. Yam fries with the hot kind of whatever that sauce is, that chipotle sauce or whatever. It is.
Really?
Oh yeah, great.
You got me thinking.
Oh, it's
Maybe
awesome.
after the show we'll go check it out.
Yeah, why not?
Cool.
All right. So I think that's a wrap.
Excellent. How are we doing for time? We're like 30 minutes. Now, are we inserting anything in this week?
Nope.
Okay.
It's all good, and I think that's good for me. You got anything to add?
Not really. I mean, keep on going for the black beer and playing with the social media. Don't forget to check us out Facebook and join, fun us or friend us or whatever the thing is.
If you have any questions, because I know that some of you are not in Vancouver, this is a meetup group, so people can register and come in and participate here live at the bunker, but also listen to us on the podcast. Now, if you call 1-877-636
Hang on, let's do it slower.
1-877-636-1474.
Excellent.
Leave a message and we'll ask a question, anything you want to know, or comments, complaints, whatever.
Sure, and can be anything.
We'll bring you into the show.
Yeah, I like how to use mic, or things like how do you get this mix minus thing to work,
Or
what's your address so I can send this beer.
Yeah, that's a good one. And also, tell me more about these idea marathons. You know.
Yeah. And we got the other podcast that we're going to be starting too. So we'll keep you up to date on that.
What other podcast?
Well, I got the Bob the Idea Guy podcast. Is going to be starting that. I got the equipment. We've got the business book reviews, which actually I've been behind the eight ball on that one.
You're on like number 30 or 40.
Hey, I
now.
got 382 people downloaded this month.
Sweet.
So yeah, I was well stoked. So keep them coming. And then I did remember last weekend.
And a new social media one, almost daily.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I've been into Hootsuite recently, so I've been blasting out lots of stuff there. So yeah, you can follow us on Twitter. You can check us out on Facebook. We've got
Twitter
the website.
is at Podcast Hero. Facebook, just type in The Bunker. And call us at that number, 1-877-636-1474. We've got a Posterous site, Bunker Project, at www.bunkerproject.posterous.com.
Now, is that the streaming one?
That one is just kind of an aggregating site. So
Yeah, but what about you were playing with that
yeah,
streaming?
we've got the Justin TV site.
We don't have it figured out yet.
Justin.tv/Bunker Project.
Yeah, so when we get that figured out, we'll talk about it a little bit more. But we get some cameras in here.
A couple
we'll go
shows
live.
ago, we from my Android phone, we live streamed one of the shows on Justin TV. So we're going to
What
continue to try things like that. So that's about it. So I think the music is just about ending now. So
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.